Nicole Ben Simon here from Melbourne, Australia. A lot has been coming up around boundaries and boundary settings. So what are boundaries? Boundaries are when we place rules around our needs, basically. And there are people that will tell us that our boundaries make us selfish, our boundaries make us not able to be there to support other people's needs. But that is not what setting healthy boundaries is about at all. Setting healthy boundaries is when we choose to nourish and nurture our inner being before being there for other people. And that is not a selfish act, although there will be those that will tell you that when you're setting healthy boundaries, you are being selfish. However, they are then asking you to care about their needs before your own. So isn't that them that are being selfish? Because if somebody loves you and wants you to be well, then they will recognize that you are putting these healthy boundaries in place, not because you don't care about them, but because you want to make sure that you are conserving your energy and that you're taking care of your inner being so that you can be for them and so that you can be there for them fully. And so when we set healthy boundaries, this may sound like not being able to get back to a friend straight away, or not being able to sort of be there for someone when you feel like you're energetically drained and not really able to be there for someone. And so, if you may have a friend that calls you 5 times within an hour, and obviously if it's an emergency, for sure you would want to answer back. But this is just somebody who wants to just ring you and dump their drama onto you. And the thing is that if somebody calls you once and then they call you again and you don't answer, you would hope that they would respect that perhaps you're busy, perhaps you are not able to get to the phone. And so if they're going to come back and then have a go at you because you weren't there at their beck and call, well, you've got to ask yourself whether you're hanging out with the right supportive people, because you should be free and confident enough within yourself to be able to clearly share with that person that they were overstepping your boundaries. And so that if you don't call back straight away, you will call back when you can. And so can you see how we're choosing not to be a slave to our outer world? We're actually going within and we are balancing within before we go out there to serve the outer world. And this is so essential because we have been conditioned to believe that we need to be there all the time, to always show up for other people. And that is great if we can, but if we're not in a position to do that, we need to be able to give ourselves permission to care for our needs first and set healthy boundaries around our health, our well-being, and our just our time to re-energize, to to recalibrate. We all need that time. And so speaking your truth in this instant is very important. Setting boundaries is speaking your truth. So this is your throat chakra. This is the chakra of communication. And a lot of us feel very much persecution around speaking our truth. And this may be from a past life where, you may have spoken your truth and been killed for it. And it could be in this life as a child. You were told by your parents, be quiet and don't speak unless you're asked to speak. You never know where we have that trauma from, but we need to learn how to open and balance our throat chakra so that we can communicate our truth to others without a fear of being told off or being persecuted, I should say. Being able to lovingly connect with somebody and say to them, listen, I really love you, but I need to just share with you that right now I'm going through blah, 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 and I may not be available all the time. I'm having to have some time to myself. We should be able to have those conversations with people that we call our friends and family. We should be able to set healthy boundaries without having to feel as though we're letting them down. Because somebody who loves you and somebody who really wants you to be well is not going to have a problem with you saying, look, I'm sorry, but I can't do this today because I'm just not feeling up to it. And if people are going to judge you for not putting yourself first and for not putting them first, if people are going to judge you for not putting yourself first, right? They expect you to drop you in order to save them. Then that in itself, in my opinion, is a selfish act. So we need to start looking at where we are with our boundaries and where we are with other people, and allowing them to have boundaries as well. And so if a friend, wants to make an arrangement and then she, calls up and says, look, she's really not feeling up to it, I'm always very accommodating. I mean, sometimes, yes, it is a pain, or sometimes, I'm getting organized and whatever, and I plan this, but we have to sort of be a bit more free-flowing and a little bit more sort of allowing ourselves to go through this, moment by moment energetic check-in. I'm finding it really hard to sort of lock myself into a lot of plans, because I like to go with my flow and to see how I'm feeling. And so setting boundaries is really an essential part of our ability to stay balanced and healthy. And if we don't set boundaries, we end up becoming very resentful. We end up feeling very unheard and mistreated because we feel as though we are not being acknowledged for how we feel. But then again, if we're not sharing how we feel with our loved ones, then how can we expect them to acknowledge how we feel? And so it is our responsibility to be able to clearly express what it is that we need, and hope that those around us will be able to listen and support us. Because if we feel supported, then we can really be there for others. But if we're feeling misunderstood and unsupported, then we can loop into this low vibration where we feel that nobody cares, and we feel as though we just have to be of service to others and ignore ourselves. And we never want to get into that position, because ignoring your inner being, ignoring who you are and what your needs are, is probably one of the worst things you can do for yourself. So we need to be able to tap into ourselves and then, then see where we're at and go from there. And so I guess a way to really know how you're feeling and how you are doing with setting healthy boundaries is to ask yourself, am I feeling drained by somebody around me? And then take a good look at why you're feeling drained, and you will clearly see that you are lacking boundaries around that relationship. And that's, I guess you can't do anything unless you have the awareness, right? So when you have the awareness, okay, so I'm feeling resentful, I'm feeling misunderstood, I'm feeling unheard, okay, I've got to set some boundaries around this relationship. And then being able to clearly communicate to that person what it is that's making you feel as though you are being, overlooked. Because, we all need to be there for each other during these times, especially you know, with all that's going on in our world and all the uncertainty and all of the chaos that's going on out there, we need to really, really be there for each other. And we really need to be able to communicate to each other what it is that we need from them, so that we can move forward in a balanced and healthy way, without having to sweep things under the carpet, because we all know that when we hide and mask our feelings, it all comes back louder and clearer. So we're not being asked to hide our feelings and mask our feelings. We're actually being asked to share our truth with our loved ones, and most importantly, connect within ourselves and see how we're feeling. And when we're feeling drained from another person, there is a lack of healthy boundaries going on there. So take a good look at your relationships, and you know, set yourself up so that you're around really beautiful people that you can share your truth with. Because if you feel that you can't, then maybe you're just not around the right people. So take a good look at your boundaries and the boundaries that you are setting, and see how you can improve that, and make sure that you are always checking in with yourself energetically and making sure that you are not being drained energetically by anybody else. So have a lovely day, and I will speak to you soon.